is up? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Back with some more Separate Ways gameplay for you, and today I'm going to be showcasing how we are going to get the professional S Plus ranking and making it as easy as possible with some tips and tricks. Now, one thing to put note here is that there is not one exact way how to do this. There is many ways, as we'll see here, so don't feel like as if you don't follow this rule by rule that hey, you can't obtain it, because there's many things that may be more comfortable. And I've always say the first step is do what feels more comfortable to you, because some weapons or ways about something might be more beneficial to you. But I'm gonna give you my personal tips and tricks and what I did. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So basically, S Plus ranking for professional mode, getting it is going to unlock the category set, which gives you infinite ammo, so you don't have to worry about ammunition for any of your weapons. But in order to get that, you have to get an S Plus ranking, which is acquired by beating professional mode on a first run in under 2.5 hours and can save no more than 10 times. So, first step, beat the game a few times. Gain familiarity with the game so that you know how enemies are going to spawn, where they're going to be, so you're not feeling unfamiliar with that. I think that's kind of self-explanatory, but I always feel like it's nice to say that. Next step is obtain these items. Now, one of these items is optional. You don't have to do it. I didn't personally use it for my playthrough, but you might need to. The other one is definitely a must. And the first item is the optional item, which is going to be the chicken head. The chicken head basically is an item that can decrease the amount of damage you receive. Now, in order to get that, you have to beat hardcore mode with an S Plus ranking, basically same amount of time, 2.5 hours, but you can save a bunch of times. I didn't use it for this, but if you do need the extra damage reduction, it's definitely great to have. But my biggest problem with this whole thing was definitely running out of ammunition early on, because that's the hardest part in all this. Now, the next item is definitely the one you want to need, and that is going to be, well, you guessed it if you watched my tips and tricks on the professional mode for the main game, the Chicago Sweeper. To get the Sweeper, you need to beat the game on professional mode in A rank. That's beat the game in under 4 hours. And yeah, you can see why the Sweeper is definitely going to be why we're going to need to do this thing easy, because it's obviously with the upgrade ticket you get the infinite ammo. Now, just in case someone is asking, I know I got a lot of questions about this on my last tips and tricks video on professional mode for the main campaign of Resident Evil 4 Remake. Yes, you can use the bonus weapons. The only one you can't use for this is the infinite rocket launcher, because that's only obtained on a new game plus, not a new game. So the knife and the sweeper, yes, you can use. But yeah, the sweeper is the goal, and you can probably see where we're going to go for this. So without further ado, let's jump right into this with Chapter 1 and what we want to do to make this as easy as possible. The hardest part of Chapter 1 is the very beginning, as obviously on professional mode with base stats weapons, it seems like it's going to take everything you got just to put this guy down, and obviously you do get a few healing items, and don't get discouraged if you do take some hits and you take some damage and it takes a while. It's perfectly natural, it's going to happen. It's the second fight of him that you should be more worried about, but even if you do die, hey, at least you don't have to go too far back, but eventually he does go down. After you do beat him, don't feel like you have to be booking it every single time. As you'll get a sense of time as you play through this game a lot, but basically after you do beat him, you want to take a stealth route until you obviously can't go stealth anymore when you go over here at this castle. At this point, once you go up this ladder, and you can pick up some of the relics and treasures if you want, but after you climb up the ladder after this grapple, you just want to book it to the end. Now, you might get hit, and sometimes you might die. You might have to bob and weave a little bit, but the more you do it, you get used to it. But as I said, if you do fall, it's alright, because you don't have to go too far. But after you get through Chapter 1, you get to Chapter 2. And in Chapter 2, you'll encounter your first side quest, and the Blue Medallion is the first one. You want to do all these side quests. That's going to be key, because once you get enough side quests, all the way up into when you come the merchant into the little sewer thing in Chapter 5, you'll be able to do the ultimate goal is what you want to do with the sweeper with the upgrade ticket. But yep, this is the first one you're going to want to do. You definitely want to do these. So this is the first side quest that you activate in this whole run. In Chapter 2, you encounter the merchant, and this is also where I'm going to do my first save, right before the second Black Road boss fight. And this is where I'm actually going to sell my treasures, sell my TMP, and sell my bonus knife as well, and pull out my sweeper, and basically commit to this sweeper. So basically, with all that money you get 25 $1,000 for that bonus knife if you do have it unlocked. But I'm going to upgrade the damage, and don't upgrade anything else on the sweeper, just upgrade the damage, because once you get that bonus upgrade unlocked, if you get enough spinels, you will have everything else upgraded except for the damage. So don't waste anything on like the reload speed or the ammo capacity. But basically, I'm going to be using the sweeper as my main SMG weapon from here on out. So just the pistol and the sweeper. And as I said, this is my first save, because the next part can definitely be a very frustrating and pain in the ass moment. So you definitely want to save here before you do this, because I did die a few times before I finally overcame and accomplished this next part. As I said, this fight here can be a big pain in the ass, and it can be very easy to get overwhelmed by how many of these clones get made, especially in the last part of this fight when he's on his last leg. So it is frustrating. It seems like you can run out of ammunition very easily, but granted and bearing, as I said, if you do that save right before, you don't have to travel too far to get right back in it. But eventually, he does go down. And also, another thing I want to know is, after you do beat him, don't feel like you have to book it right to the end, to the next chapter. Take some time and replenish your stuff in this town. This town is here to be looted. Loot up, get the treasures, get any healing herbs, get any ammunition, anything you want. Don't feel like you got to be booking it and running it, full speed ahead. You got plenty of time as long as you plan everything accordingly. But you're fine here. Just obviously move, but don't feel like every single time. There are areas where you'll bypass and I feel like it's worth it. But here, load up on ammunition, because as I said, the hardest part of this whole thing is these early stages. Just like in the original professional mode in the main campaign, it's the early stages and not running out of ammunition and having enough for the major boss fights, because a big major pain in the ass is coming up eventually. For Chapter 3, once you get to the factory, don't forget to get the Ganado that has Leon's jacket, because that's another one of the side quests you want to do. But the part where you have all these Ganados and the 2 chainsaw people come after you. Now, this is a choice that I made, and some people can do it without it. I decided to play it safe, but it could also screw me, as you'll see later on, is what I do here. And by the way, the tripwire over here was not planned. It was not intentional. It just happened to be that way. I was hoping that one guy would run into it, but basically, after this whole fail here, is I had that one Ganado go through the window, or the chainsaw guy, jump over here, get ready to block or dodge. I get the EMP nade, throw it here, and blind them for a little while, just so I can have time to get through here. Now, it is possible to do this without the EMP nade, but I'll just say it's really, really dicey. I mean, you definitely have your hairs going on the back of your neck while doing this, but once you do that, obviously you go through the town and you get to your next save right before the El Gigante fight. Now, the reason why I say, maybe it was better to save the MPNA, because I wish I would have had it for the El Gigante fight, because this guy is definitely a bullet sponge. And I actually thought I trapped myself trapped here, because for this fight, I basically just had the sweeper and the handgun, and no matter how hard I tried, I just could not put him down. I always ran out of ammunition. So what I actually eventually had to do is I had to go back to the merchant and buy a shotgun. Now, you can maybe swap out that for a rifle if you feel more comfortable with it. I'm just better off with a shotgun. But even with the shotgun, it just about took every single bullet I had. So make sure you have ample enough of ammunition to go by. As I said, you want to expose that parasite, and then you want to be able to hit a lot. So make sure he doesn't tear down all the buildings, so you can get an easier time to hit the parasite. And hopefully you don't run out of ammunition like I did. As I said, I had to backtrack, get the shotgun. I'm going to do that. I wish I had the EMP nade in future sites. So just a little heads up. Maybe if you think you can get past your chainsaw people without it, but that EMP nade definitely will save you a lot of ammunition. So this was definitely not hard, but just frustrating, because you just keep running out of ammunition. But keep that in mind. As I said, you can maybe swap for a rifle if you feel more comfortable with it. I just went personally with the shotgun, but eventually this guy did go down. I was able to get past him and beat him. For Chapter 4, I made a save at the first save point I see here. Also, I picked up the flash grenade recipe, because that's definitely going to be key for the next part. You don't necessarily have to save at the first point. You could do it at the second point. Probably would have been better on, so I had to travel a bit far. But after El Gigante fight, I just wanted to make sure, just in case I did something stupid or messed up. But here in this room, this is, in my opinion, other than the boss fight early on, this is probably the hardest part of this whole thing, in my honest opinion, because there's so many nights I was running out of ammunition, I don't know why that helmet was floating in midair, but basically what I try to do is I tried to stay back here so the archers won't hit me. I try to, when I get their helmets down where I can melee them off, I try to get them grouped up so I can maybe take off multiple helmets and get them in a group. Because I was running severely off of ammunition, but I did have an EMP, and you definitely want to have an EMP, and you want to save it here just so you can take these guys out, because it got really, really dicey here. I was wondering if I was going to make it out, and I barely did with about 10 bullets left to spare, so take it for what you will, but have that EMP nade out there to basically get through it here. As I said, I think this is the hardest room in the entire game, and eventually take care of these assholes archers and make things way more difficult than they need to be. But once you pass here, you pass part 1 of the hardness, because the next part is not as hard but can be a little frustrating. I make a save right before I get to the garden as well, just because this can be night and day for me. It may be easy sometimes to get this guy, and then sometimes it might be a pain in the ass. I didn't have a lot of ammunition, or at least effective ammunition, to really take him down real quick, so it took a while for me to kill him. Not to mention, this is also the second blue medallion part for a side quest you need to get, so not only do you need to kill him and dodge all his ganados and plagas he spawns, you also need to get the blue medallions here so you can build up your the spinel so you can get to the merchant to exchange that for a ticket. And this actually took off a little bit of time for me, so once again, as I said, I made a save beforehand just in case, so I can try it multiple times in case I really messed up. It took me a little while, but overall, I eventually do get them down. I do get the blue medallions, but at this point, I think I'm about a little over an hour into the game now, so that was my time frame. So not bad on time, but getting closer to my ultimate objective, which is ultimately get that sweeper at infinite ammo. So it is a little frustrating, but I think once you get past this part with the night room and this garden, I think the game definitely starts to get really, really easier in terms of attaining the S+ professional mode. When you start Chapter 5, I just kind of ran past everything, but one thing you want to note here, you definitely don't want to forget it, is you don't have to get every single treasure. I try to pick up as many as I can, but not go out of my way to waste time. But after you take down these two guys with the little lantern on fire here, do not miss the crown on the very left here. And also, don't just put the treasures, like the little gems, into like the dinky treasures. You want to save it for this bad boy right here, because remember, if you put 5 different colors in that crown, it's 100,000 pesetas for you. So that's a big bonus here. And once you get to the blue medallions, the second one, I had just enough spinels for the merchant in the sewer room of Chapter 5 to exchange the tickets. But fear not, even if you don't have enough, because as I had a few knights drop them as well, even if you don't have enough, there's also another quest right nearby where you get the Lord of the Lake. He's right in the ocean or water down here. So if you don't have enough, you can go down there real easily, take him out, and then sell him here. And now that we got the sweeper at infinite ammo, we can sell everything else. We can sell all our weapons with the exception of the sweeper. And at this point, the only thing we're going to be doing with money is just upgrading the sweeper in terms of its damage. But basically, pat yourself on the back if you've made it this far. The hard part is now officially over, and it gets a lot more easier. And also, as I said, with the crown, now that we picked it up, put all those different colored gems in there. Make sure it's a different color for every slot, so you get a full 100,000 pesetas. And see, I'm learning. I'm not calling them pitas, even though it says that on the screen. I remember people in my last one were making fun of me about that, but nonetheless, you get that 100,000 there. So easy to upgrade the damage on the sweeper. But basically, yeah, the hard part is over. Everything's going to be a lot more easier. And I also make a save right here just in case. So now we can just kind of just wrap this up. I think I got like, I don't know, about an hour at this point to do it. And by the way, when you go into this room with the 2 Garradors, you do pick up a heavy grenade. What I like to do is just go over here and throw it in between them so they both take the damage, and just unload the sweeper here. I just got really fortunate here. I didn't take any damage, but I just unloaded on them, tried to hit the parasite. When they did run at me, I just ran back here, tossed another grenade if I have it, and I was actually able to just, as I said, kill everybody without taking any damage. A little lucky there, but yeah, that went out really, really well. But as you said, this is what makes it so easy is just having a sweeper here with the infinite ammo. Not just infinite ammo, but not even being able to reload, so it's very effective. For the actual boss fight with the U3, as I said, you can actually get him stun locked pretty easy in phase 1. He might get a hit on you or not, but at this point, you've probably picked up a lot of healing stuff lately, now that you don't really need to worry about anything else. Phase 2, he kind of does the same thing, he just moves around a little bit more, but it's basically the same crust. Just unload on him until he dies. Obviously, he does some of the bugs, but it really shouldn't be a problem. It may hit you a few times, but as I said, you got healing items in the room, so just shoot at him in his crit spot until he falls. It shouldn't be that difficult at this point. For the rest of the chapter, I just kept running past everyone. Didn't really focus on anything. As I said, I got the sweepers. No need to really go after anything or go out of my way to get anything. Just keep running until you get to the end of the chapter. And I think by chapter 6, which I did save at the beginning of it, I think I had about like 55 minutes to beat it before time ran out for me. And there really wasn't any problem. I ran past the regenerators for the whole comm satellite thing with all the lasers and stuff like that. It really wasn't a big deal. But if you are running a little bit late on time, you do have an issue. As I said, sell all your items, but the one thing you do want to make is EMP nades. That's the only thing you really need, so you can throw them there to daze your enemies and walk right past them. But other than that, like everything else, you can just sell it. Even nades, ammunition, but just keep your large resources and your gunpowder just to make EMP nades. That's basically the only item I really needed to just get past people real easy, or maybe take out a bunch of Plagas, but make your way past everything else and then just get to the laser room at the end of it and just run through it till you get to the end of the chapter. And as I said, by this point, it's basically just a guarantee I'm going to get it. It's just a matter of, how fast I was going to get it done. But everything else should be easy with that sweeper. So after the laser room fiasco, you move on to chapter 7. And with chapter 7, right before you fight Sadler, since I didn't have enough to upgrade the sweeper, I just did something that's probably a better option for time. And I would do this if you're really short on time, but buy a rocket launcher. It's a little bit more expensive, obviously, in professional mode, but if you do able to get it, it's a one-shot kill to Sadler. So if you are a little short on time, you need that like fast kill on him, that's the way to be. Basically sell everything, because as I said, your sweeper is already infinite ammo, so you can use that for the part afterwards. But having the rocket launcher, you can just easily get through the guy if you do have enough money on you. But that's what I would recommend personally if you are stripped for time. But here I just wanted to get it over with, so I bought the rocket launcher to take care of Sadler one shot and moved on to the last part of the game. For the last part, there's really no drama. Just keep running through it. Blast everyone with the sweeper. Use some EMP nades if you need to get past some people. Just run past them, and keep doing that till you get to the end. And eventually, you're going to be able to unlock the S+ ranking with the professional mode. And here was my stats personally. I got it in exactly 2 hours on 9 saves. And as I said, the saves, they're not exclusive. You can save a little bit differently depending on your situation, and obviously times are going to vary, but I feel like there's multiple ways you could do a lot of this stuff. But at the end of the day, I feel like if I had to do it again, I'd do it a little bit differently. Maybe keep that EMP nade early on, not use it on the chainsaw people personally, but nonetheless, that is my tips and tricks on how to do the professional mode or the S+ ranking. I'm interested to hear your guys' tips and tricks. I've seen a few different strats, seen a few people do different things, but hopefully this can help you guys out and make it as easy as possible so you can get these cat ears, just like we got the cat ears for Leon. Now we can get them for Ada, but unlike Leon, they look a lot cuter and cooler on Ada. But that is going to be it. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and hopefully I can see you guys back on the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you all later. Peace. But wait a minute. What are you doing with that jacket, homie? Give me that back. I wonder if Leon ever did see this jacket again.